With Robocop Rogue City hitting PlayStation Plus this week, I highly recommend that you give this game a try because after playing it at the start of this year, I think Robocop Rogue City is an all-time great first-person shooter, and in this video I'm going to tell you why. Hello, I'm Terrelle, welcome to the Escapism channel. Thank you for taking the time to click on this video. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do end up enjoying it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos on this channel. The FPS genre is one of the most jam-packed genres within gaming, and it's filled with many titles of varying quality. You have the iconic franchises such as Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield and Doom, but amongst that there are many others which try and imitate the greats and fall far short of that. In recent years, it feels like there's been a noticeable lack in quality within the genre. The same can be said when taking a look at the history of movie licensed video games as well. There's a handful of standouts such as Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Scarface and The Godfather, but the bad certainly outweighs the good. And think about it, when was the last time you played a movie licensed game that you'd consider good or even great? So with Robocop Rogue City being both an FPS and a video game based on a movie IP, how does it fare? Well, I was pleasantly surprised by it. Back when the game released in 2023, I remember hearing from a few publications that it was a good game, but I never looked into why, so I was kept in the dark about what the game actually was and what gameplay experience it offered. So when I saw it on sale at the start of the year, I purchased it. I expected a fairly simple yet enjoyable level-based FPS that could essentially be simplified and described as a shooting gallery, sort of like an arcade shooter minus the rails, but to my surprise, Robocop Rogue City gave me much more than that. After playing the first few missions, I realized there's more depth to this game than I anticipated. This game isn't solely filled with non-stop shooting like I expected. Now don't get me wrong, there are plenty of moments where your objective is to clear out a room of enemies in a brutal fashion that stays true to the nature of the Robocop franchise, but beyond that, you do get sections of the game that are within an area that is more open and expansive, where you can explore these zones and investigate your cases to find leads through scanning your environment, and even take on side missions that actually make you feel like a cop patrolling on duty. This element of the game nicely breaks up the pace with the shooting and makes sure that the novelty of the gunplay isn't worn off by the time you next engage in a gunfight. You'll spend a fair amount of time between missions in your police precinct where you can interact with other officers, take on new cases and travel to downtown Detroit, which is one of the key open zones where you have a few blocks worth of city to navigate and engage with. I was really caught off guard by this aspect of the game, but it helped immerse me within this story and world, and it's a feature that makes Rogue City stand out from other FPS games so far this generation. I personally don't have much history or attachment with the films, as I only watched Robocop for the first time last year, but I did enjoy it and I can understand why it's considered an action classic. This game is so authentic to the Robocop franchise, with an impressive attention to detail in order to realize that world with stunning graphics and make you feel a part of what was presented in the original films. It has a story worth telling that feels like it was handled with care and created out of passion, not necessity, by actual fans of the property. This story takes place between Robocop 1 and 2 and will likely encourage you to watch the films after you play it if you haven't seen them before. As I said prior, the graphics are stunning, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this is one of the best looking games I've played this generation. It's an example of how a mix of linear and small open levels can result in a more focused level design, which can lead to better detail and visual fidelity within those environments. Now this is an FPS after all, so all the praise I've heaped upon this game so far will count for nothing if the core shooting gameplay isn't good, but thankfully that's not the case. The gunplay in Robocop Rogue City is crunchy and satisfying. You feel the impact of your actions as bullets penetrate enemies and send their bodies flying through the air whilst unleashing blood everywhere. Developers Teon have successfully created a power fantasy that makes you truly feel like you've become Robocop. You somewhat feel unstoppable in a room filled with thugs, and it's the visceral nature of the action gameplay that helps make this game endlessly enjoyable to play and makes it stand out as an FPS. You move relatively slow compared to most first-person shooter games that prioritize speed, but where Robocop lacks in speed, he makes up for it with power. His standard weapon is a pistol, but you can pick up and use enemy weapons, and there's a good variety throughout the game, such as assault rifles, grenade launchers, detachable turrets and shotguns. You can even grab and throw enemies and items, which never gets old. The enemy types change as you progress throughout the game, with certain enemies you face later on being able to soak up the damage a lot more, which adds a little more to the difficulty of the proceedings. Of course, you have your standard skill tree which you can use to upgrade Robocop and his abilities throughout the game. This includes things such as his dash move, which allows him to dash forward and attack enemies. You can upgrade his health, you can upgrade the rate of XP that you earn, and other things. Robocop Rogue City understands how important it is to have engaging levels to shoot your way through. The locations are far from bland and give you many memorable levels to cause destruction and mayhem in. Some of those places are locations you don't usually get to have a shootout in within a video game, such as a VHS store, a tech expo, a bank, and more. I had a lot of fun shooting my way through these locations, and I think that's an integral part of what makes a good FPS that a lot of people overlook: the actual level designs and the interiors themselves. If the level looks cool to shoot your way through, or if it's quite unique, that adds to the enjoyment of the FPS. If it's a very bland level that has not much to it, that's going to negatively impact the FPS experience. So, with all that being said, I believe you should check out Robocop Rogue City if you're looking for a fun game to play that's not that long. It took me about 14 hours to beat the game and platinum it, so it is quite a short game, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, so I actually credit the game for that. But it's a fun game. If you're looking for an FPS to play, a fairly good one, I highly recommend you check this one out. And there's no better time to play it because it is actually available this week on PlayStation Plus monthly games. So if you own a PlayStation and you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, you don't have to pay any extra cost to jump in and play this game at the moment, so that's all the more reason to try it out at the very least. As I was playing the game, it dawned on me that Robocop Rogue City is one of the best FPS games I've played in many years, and in my opinion, it's one of the best FPS games of all time. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. You can check out my recent videos on the channel. I recently reviewed Monster Hunter Wilds, and I did a video talking about Bloodborne 10 years later. Thank you once again. I'll speak to you guys in the next video.